What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper. I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
She is Senator Susan Kent. We call this Yeah Bud or Clean Up in Aisle 9. I say this a lot. You're my favorite senator from this time for the next hour every week on Wednesday. But last night, I don't even know how to, I don't even know how to describe it. Last night, I'm just Facebooking, running around the web, and I see a post by you. And I realize why we get along so well. We are kindred spirits. You and I are like Siamese twins that were separated at birth. Loved your post last night. Would you explain it for us?
Well, as background, and I don't know if other people share my feelings about this, Facebook used to be fun. You know, I remember like watching the Oscars and like commenting on people's feeds. We would like talk about, the movies and the dresses and whatever. And now, none of that fun stuff happens anymore. So it isn't what it used to be. It's all ads, it seems like. But the thing that really drives me crazy is the algorithm, shows me things 4 days later from people that I interact with regularly. It's like, I don't understand, right? So yesterday, I like, and this actually started on another social media thing. Somebody had a business up north had posted a picture of a moose in an unexpected place. I mean, I fell for it. I forgot it was April Fool's Day. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And that just made me mad because I have to say, not a huge fan of that anyway. But I don't mind the ones where it's obvious. The picture that somebody put of the whale breaching in Grand Marais Harbor, that was amusing to me because that was clearly not real. But then
mine was Aaron Roberts on MinnesotaVikings.com or something. They put Aaron Rodgers had signed with the Vikings. And I'm like, no way. And I had to find, and I get online and I ask, and it's like, son of a gun, April Fool's.
Exactly. So anyway, yesterday I just posted, I was like, the annoying Facebook algorithm that's always useless and tedious is particularly bad on April Fool's Day. Let's just not, with a rolly eyes or something. And then I was like, okay, that just sounds a little crabby. So I said, and it commented on my own. I said, and by the way, get off my lawn.
You did. You sounded like Clint Eastwood in that movie. It's like, get off my lawn, kid. You're having another beer. It was great. You are 100% correct. And that's why it's an old person platform now, I suppose. When Facebook started, it was for kids. But then we took it over as older folks so that we could share pictures and that. I think Facebook has an opportunity to really be a bond. Like you say, as you get older, hey, you want more pictures of the kids. Remember, you can store your photos there, all that stuff. But it's changed.
Can I tell you my favorite? So when I was a toddler, my dad taught at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and we lived, in a little house, and next door was another little house, and I was an only child, and was she an only child at that point? I think she was, and we were just best friends when we were like 3 and 4 years old, and we'd go play in the creek in the back with the cottonmouths, and my parents got a little nervous about that. But anyway, our moms sort of stayed in touch, but that was sort of it after we moved away. And she and I have reconnected, and we're each other's first friends. And I love that I know what's going on with her life, and her sons look just like her when she was a kid, and it's really special.
See, that's why I think Facebook started out, there was something there.
Yep.
It's now trying to be everything for everybody, and then it gets to be nothing for anybody. And like you say, the ads are a pain. And probably society. How long has Facebook been around? 15 years, 20 years? I don't know.
It's probably close to 20. Yeah.
All right. Well, then if you
go back to when Zuckerberg started it as the Book of Faces.
Yeah. Remember those ads? Okay. And we've changed the society, so I don't know if I can just blame Zuckerberg or Facebook. You got to do what you got to do.
Let's go ahead and blame Zuckerberg.
Well, no, because here's the one that got me in the last week. Is a friend, old high school friend, know the family, and again, same thing. I had no doubt she leans to the left, always has. I mean, okay, I don't get no problem with that. Put just the strangest post out. Just out, I'm sitting there. I do rather like watching this stuff on Explorer, on History TV. I watch some Explorer show, and my phone goes up. Oh, So I read it, and it's a very long one, which, let's keep them short, people. Say it in short and sweet. But anyway, went off on how I, not me personally, but folks of my ilk, obviously are for fascism. We love Hitler, and we don't understand our own Christianity. And it was quite long. I mean, I've narrowed that down, but those are the things. And I just went back to her, and I said, well, you don't want to have a conversation. Once you compared me to Hitler, I'm not sure why I come back from that. Oh, of course, you'd go right to that. You put it in your post. We weren't even talking about your questioning my Christianity. It's gotten so dark. I want to go back to taking pictures of my dog when he's sleeping weird. And, I'd rather have that 10 times than what we've got on Facebook now. Am I wrong? I mean, I might have voted the wrong person. You might believe that, but I don't promote Hitler. I don't believe, you got to stop people.
Here's the thing. I mean, and I think we talked about a version of this a couple weeks ago. It's that, yes, we would all love for it to be less dark, but like in my case, it is actually dark. The things that are happening in our government to my fellow citizens, my own mother, all of this stuff is dark. And so, yeah, I wish, but I'm not going to pretend it's not dark. You know what I mean? So I think that the reality is some people don't see this as dark. And some of us are like, okay, if you can't see how bad this is, there's a real disconnect here between us.
I agree 100%, but you come on this show every week. We probably don't agree on a lot of these things we're even going to talk about today. I don't know when I get to the point I can talk about your Christianity. I think we take a jump. When you compare a man who killed 16 million people in the 40s to whatever your problem is today, you're going over the top to a point we can't have a conversation. You can try to convince me I should be doing something different, vote different. I get fine. We can all have a conversation, but it's just.
And I think to that point, the devil is in the details. So, I mean, there are legitimate comparisons of different forms of fascism across time and across countries, right? Yeah. And there's a legitimate conversation if what is happening in our country right now is very much on the path and getting to the front door of fascism, right? So if that's what she's saying, that's not necessarily, and yes, Nazi Germany was a fascist situation among others. That doesn't mean, so it's like, I don't know if that means she's directly comparing you to, she thinks she's comparing you personally.
She said Hitler, I supported it. Yes, I supported Hitler and you must support Hitler and fascism. Like,
yeah, and I do think that the Hitler analogy is almost never appropriate because of the extreme genocide. It's just.
I'm going to go with Mao and some of these others when you're talking great history catastrophes. Yes, maybe you can, but other than that, yeah. Right. On this same thing, what I don't understand is, and I think we're talking processes, but this is what we were talking about. She was talking about a lot was this, how we're getting rid of people out of the country that we don't think belong here. Whether you believe they belong here or not, these are the people that the current administration believed did not belong here. And I think we're at 30,000. I might be off a little bit, but somewhere around 30,000 people, those that have convinced themselves to leave, and then we've flown out. There have been mistakes. Completely agree. My answer, and I do not, by the way, just so my friends that are listening, the president doesn't call me and ask me my opinion. I'm not in on any of the secret stuff. I don't know how it gets picked. I voted for him. Yes. From that moment on, he's not asked me my opinion on anything. I don't know the process that I could come up with, Al's version of doing this, without ever being able to guarantee I don't make a mistake. I don't think the mistake should be happening. I think we talked with Putnam earlier today. The kid at school when they come with mask on and grab you, it doesn't look right. I don't think that's the way I do it. But then on the other hand,
how would you feel if that was your young adult child in a foreign country that happened to?
And again,
they were innocent.
I get the feelings get riled up. I don't like the face mask thing, but then I'm thinking, well, why do you do the face mask thing? Because we have the internet, and once Al the cop's face gets put on that he's coming for you, that's going to be all over that area, and then everybody's going to know Al the cop. I get their point. I don't like it, but I'm not sure how do I protect our police officers? I don't know the answer to that, so I'm trying hard to at least be open. I don't like it. It looked horrible. On the other hand,
I would just say, I just have to interrupt and say, it doesn't just look horrible. It is in fact horrible when innocent people are getting swept up in trauma-inducing ways, and terrified, and don't have any way to be brought back from some horrific imprisonment site in El Salvador.
I was going to give you markers. I'm at 0. We're already over because we're just sorry. Let's go to break. When we come back, and I will ask you your opinion. If maybe you don't even believe this, do we need to deport people? Because we had many come over here in the last few years, up to 20 million, some say, that are here illegally without paperwork. Do we need to get them out? Maybe you don't think we do. And if we do, what is the left's idea on how you do that and do it well in an orderly process? I'd like to hear it. We'll be back. I'm sorry we're late. Senator Susan Kent on the Al Travis Show.
Hassan Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease! It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit ChanHassanDT.com.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Well, we try to keep it respectful anyway, and so I looked it up. According to Newsweek anyway, about 28,000 thus far have been booted out of the country via Trump. I was talking with Putnam. That, by the way, 28,000 times 12 times 4 is roughly about 1.3 million. So we're not even close to the 20, if that's the number we think. Putnam said straight up, he didn't know that he even thought they needed all to be deported. So I don't know how we tell. Right. I leave it up to you. Senator Kent, what do we do?
So, I think we all agree that, and I think that's what's important. Is like, let's be really clear on the things we know we agree on, the things we know we disagree on, and then the stuff that's sort of in the middle, and that's the gray area. And in the process of doing even the stuff we agree on, where are the guardrails, right? So I think we all agree. And I think the law states, and I want to say, I'm really pretty sure that the Biden administration did deport people a lot, and the same with the Obama administration. So it's not like people are just willy-nilly saying everybody gets to stay here no matter what, right? So
No, I didn't say that. I'm just.
I know you didn't,
Okay.
but
All right.
it feels like the way this conversation, and I'm not saying this about you, but I'm saying
Okay.
the way this conversation usually happens is there's this black and white assumption. Either you want everybody gone, or you want everybody to stay, and that's as always, these things get oversimplified, and I think that's really dangerous, and that's why this gets so hard. That gets so hard to talk about.
Like,
But what I would say is, yes, there are people who need to go. We've been doing that. We need to continue doing that. But even in the case of doing that, a fundamental premise of our country has historically been, we don't, you don't do such overkill on the punitive thing that you are punishing innocent people on, more. I mean, of course, there will be the occasional mistake, but what we have seen in this particular process is like this. There was this one Venezuelan guy who had come here legally. He's a refugee. He has a court order that he can't be deported, and yet he got sent to El Salvador anyway. He's married to an American citizen, and he has a young child with disabilities who's an American citizen, and he tried to tell them, don't, but they did anyway. And there are numerous cases where, because people are not identifying who they are. I understand your point. Seems like you could flash a badge or something and identify who you are, right?
I would agree with that. But the other side doesn't have, I think this El Trigwe, Rogwe, whatever the terrible MS-13, I'll use them because I can pronounce it. These are very bad people who don't carry cards in the pocket saying, I'm a member of the gang. Right. So we have to take some liberties. Well, you have that tattoo that they love so much. I don't know how else you do it. And my point is, it's not mine. I'm asking you because. But the point is, we do have laws and we do have processes to do this. These are due process things, and someone like that gentleman should be able to have actual due process. There's not even a big question about that guy. Well, and
if there is a question, can we at least keep them in this country?
Well, see,
because the Trump administration is saying, oh yeah, well, sorry, we can't get him back. We have no control over the situation.
Let me throw this at you because
that is a complete cop out.
I had a U.S. Attorney General on from California last week, John O'Connor. And I asked him this. I said, what is the law on this? How does this work legally? I know everyone says you got to give him counsel and due process and all this. Here's what he said. And he called him Juan. I don't want to be he said, if a border agent catches Juan coming across the Rio Grande, he's still wet. You get him right there. It is perfectly 100% his job to pick him up, put him back on the other side and say, no, these are our rules.
That's not how you enter this country. Right.
Yes. So the fact that someone got there and you didn't catch him while he was still wet, he's now here and been here for whatever length of time, doesn't change that rule. He doesn't get, this is according to this guy, I'm paraphrasing, he doesn't, because you got past the border, mean now you have the rights of American citizens. If we know you're that guy who snuck in,
that's the point. Then that's the point. Here's a guy, he did not sneak in. He came here as a refugee.
Oh, I'm not saying we're not making mistakes. I agree.
But that's the conversation, right? I mean,
I agree.
I'm not arguing that that's the nature of the law, but once they're already here, and it becomes sort of their word against yours, and they're saying, I have asylum, I have refugee, give me time to get my papers, let me get a lawyer to represent me, whatever. But you solve that here. You don't send people off to a horrific site, and then let's not talk about Kristi Noem and what horrific things she did.
The video about telling people to leave? What did she do?
The photos and
going down there and she's got guts. I watched Silence of the Lambs.
That's not guts. That's inhumane. And she's sitting there with her $50,000 Rolex watch. It is just it is propaganda. Yes, it's propaganda what she's doing. In terms
so
of
if by doing that, and she also has that commercial saying, don't come here, we're going to kick you out, and it stops people from coming in.
No, I'm not talking about that. Okay. I'm talking about this prison in El Salvador,
and how
inhumane it is, and the people who are stacked up in bunks. And it looks like a scene, it does look like a scene out of the Holocaust.
All right. We got to go to break. Got to go to break. You brought it up. Got to go to break. We're out of time. When we come back, and we'll have another half an hour. We got it with Senator Susan Kent. Love having her on the program. We call it Yeah But, or Pick Up in aisle 9. Pick up now. Clean up. I knew it wasn't the right word. We got to go to break. It's been a long day. We'll be back after this with more on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different.